Hey everyone, it's Eric Jensen again, here to talk about what's been going on a little bit. First and foremost, that USC game. I will admit right off, I missed the second half because General Conference for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints started, and so I was watching that. But I did catch the first half, and there was a lot of encouraging signs. Thankfully, my prediction was completely inaccurate. USC's defense turned around. They were able to actually sack the quarterback. Amazing. And Keaton Slovis was actually throwing the ball downfield. Granted, a lot of it is just like the YOLO, chuck it up to Drake London, and that guy makes some incredible catches. But when they were able to do that, stretch the field a little bit, even if it's just because your athlete is just so much far superior than they are, it opens up, and they were able to get some running later in the game. And so keep on trying to stretch the ball downfield. The season, theoretically, USC could still be in the mix for the Pac-12. They need a run and basically need to go undefeated, but they theoretically could still do it. They still need help too. I think they would need Arizona State to lose one more game. But speaking of Arizona State, they did good knocking off UCLA, and Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, which means perfect day. Oh, we gotta love those. A USC win, a UCLA and Notre Dame loss. You can't get better than that. So what am I hoping for? USC is going to be playing Utah, and I'll talk about that game a little bit. But you've got to keep on getting pressure and keep pushing the ball up the field. If USC doesn't do that, then it's gonna turn into what Oregon State did against them. Anyways, and Jackson Dart was back at practice, although very limited today. So I don't think he won't be playing. I know they keep on telling him he's week to week, but he won't be in this week. But it's good that he's back at practice. So anyways, then now I'm gonna, what am I gonna talk about? The top 25. So I am going to give you my top 15, which I'm not going to go through all of them. But the way I think ranking should be isn't necessarily the best teams. Because theoretically, if you're just choosing whoever is the best, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Because a team can lose and still be a better football team. Like the USC team in 2005 that lost the national championship Rose Bowl game to Texas. Yeah, they lost that game. Texas was, ended up being slightly better in that game. USC was by far a better team. They just were. In fact, if you just went by the best team, USC would have been ranked number 1 from 2002, the end of the 2002 season, all the way through the 2008 season. Arguably, USC was the best team every single year that time, if you were just going on the best team. But what college football should do is you should be the most deserving team. And you should have, the best should be a tiebreaker. It should get in there. That should be a part of it. If you've got a few undefeated teams, yeah, go with the team that you think is better and rank them higher. But it should be who is deserving of the ranking, not who do you think is the best team or best 4 teams. Don't do it that way. Do who has actually got the results to be up there. So, with that said, here is my top 15. I just did 15 because 25 is too long. Number 1, Alabama. They're they're still by far the best, I think. Not even close. They destroyed Ole Miss. Number 2, I don't think they played anyone, especially I'm going to touch on why you shouldn't have rankings earlier. But Georgia, I think they're still undefeated. They're blowing everyone out for the most part. So I'm putting them as number 2. Number 3 is Iowa. A lot of these teams haven't played a true meat of their schedule yet. But Iowa's looked really good, though. So I'm putting them as 3. 4, Cincinnati, knocking off Notre Dame last week. So I have them in the top 4. Number 5, I have Penn State. They have, again, what could be a couple good wins. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Auburn. Auburn is still ranked up there and only has 1 loss, but I don't think they're all that good. And Wisconsin obviously is not good, but they're still getting credit for beating Wisconsin because in the beginning of the season, Wisconsin was ranked high. But anyways, number 5, Penn State. Number 6, Oklahoma. I don't think they've looked good, but they've won all their games. Number 7, Michigan. I think Michigan has looked pretty good in most of their games. They had a little struggle against Rutgers, but they've looked pretty solid. And so 7, Michigan. Number 8, BYU. I mean, they've dominated the Pac-12 South. They could probably be the number 1 Pac-12 team if they were in the Pac-12, but they're going to the Big 12. Anyway, so BYU is number 8, and they're looking good. Number 9, Michigan State. Michigan State is another one. They beat Miami, which I don't think Miami is good at all. Alabama gets credit for that one too, even though Miami has turned into being a garbage team. But they also beat Nebraska, and although Nebraska's record is only 3-3, Nebraska looks good, in my opinion. Not great, but they look solid, especially on the defensive side of things. In fact, sneak peek, I think Nebraska's going to upset Michigan. But Michigan State did beat them, Nebraska, in overtime. So I have them as 9. Number 10, Oklahoma State. They've squeaked by a few games that they haven't been super impressive, but they're undefeated. They deserve to be up there. 11, Kentucky, coming off the big win against Florida, staying undefeated in the SEC. You got to put them up there. And then the weakest of these big undefeated teams in the Power 5, I've got Wake Forest. They haven't played anyone, but they beat everyone they've played, and most teams by a significant amount. So I'm putting Wake Forest as 12. Then number 13, I've got Oregon. They, they gave the game away there against Stanford, not playing in the first half and then, laying an egg at the end. But they still have some pretty good wins. They still went to Ohio State and beat them, which brings me to Ohio State, which I have 14. I have no idea why in most polls Ohio State is ranked ahead of Oregon. And it's not like, crazy different amounts. It's like 8-9. It's like, well, they played each other and Oregon beat them. I'm going to put Oregon ahead of Ohio State. And then to round out the top 15, I've got Coastal Carolina. They're undefeated. And they haven't played anyone. I don't know if they're going to play anyone, but they've put together consecutive great seasons. So I'm going to give them some benefit there. There's a couple other teams that are still undefeated too. We'll see what they do. SMU is one, and I'm not thinking of the other right now, but there's another one out there. Anyways, so going back to my rant on this should be the first week we rate teams is because listen to these teams that were ranked in the top 25 in the beginning. Clemson, Texas A&M, Iowa State, North Carolina. Those were all top 10 teams. And then we have Wisconsin, Miami, LSU, USC, Indiana. We're all in the top 20. Most of those teams have been awful. Now, granted, if they go through the rest of the season and only have 2 losses, they're going to move back up into some of them already have more than 2 losses, but some of them like Clemson, maybe if Clemson doesn't lose again, then we go, okay, well, they may be, back way up there. But I mean, some of these teams have not looked good, and teams get credit for beating them. Like Arkansas got boosted a whole lot by beating Texas A&M. I mean, Texas A&M took the last drive of the game to beat an awful Colorado team. They're not good. And if to go against USC, I mean, if you're thinking USC was a good stuff, which I did to begin with, but then Oregon State should be ranked way up there because I mean, they took it to them. Anyways, all I'm saying is don't rank teams before the season gets going. Let the teams play. Let's see a month, and then we can evaluate. And you're not ranking teams way up there just because they beat teams that we thought were going to be good when they actually weren't. Anyways, I'll probably continue to rant on that over and over again. It's still early. So these rankings, again, like I said, you should rank teams on how they're deserved, and that can change. And it can change week to week. A lot of these teams may lose. And if they lose, drop them down. Till they do, I mean, they've won all their games. Rank them high. I don't care if they're not as good as some of the other teams. I don't care if Oklahoma State isn't as good as Ohio State. They're undefeated. They should be ranked ahead of them. They've done better in the season, even if they're not as talented or as good. Anyways, what else is going on? We've got the baseball is going on. I may touch that when they get to the World Series. I don't care about I don't care. Soccer's on an international break, so not much going on there. And hockey is going to be starting soon. Maybe I'll need to talk a little bit about how great hockey is in one of these and how it is one of the best sports out there. Far better than most of the other big sports. Anyways, that's probably going to do it for today. Have it so good. Bye.